Okay, picture this. You're desperate for money, so you take a babysitting job. The catch? Your patient is a paralyzed woman who supposedly slaughtered her entire family in cold blood. Yeah, welcome to our explainer of Riley Zager's insane thriller, The Only One Left. If you think you're going to guess the ending of this story, I promise you're absolutely wrong. We're going to map out every single jaw-dropping moment, and honestly, you are not ready for this. Let's get right into it. So, meet our main character, Kit McDeere. She's a caregiver, and she is desperate for a job because, plot twists right off the bat, she's currently under suspicion for her own mother's death. Yeah, her reputation in town is completely ruined. Nobody will hire her. So she's basically forced to take the absolute worst gig in the world, a live-in job caring for a local horror legend. You know what towns have those creepy urban legends? Well, there is literally a schoolyard rhyme about Kit's new patient. It goes, "At 17, Leonora Hope hung her sister with a rope. The legend says that way back in 1929, 17-year-old Leonora slit her dad's throat, stabbed her mom, and hung her sister Virginia. But because there was no murder weapon and zero solid proof, she never actually went to jail. She just locked herself in her mansion for decades. And now, Kit is basically her new roommate." Kit arrives at Hope's End, which is this massive, blood-stained mansion that is literally teetering on the edge of a cliff. I mean, the ground is actively eroding into the ocean, the floors are permanently slanted, and you can practically feel the doom and gloom as soon as you walk through the front doors. It's giving massive haunted house vibes. It is the perfect claustrophobic nightmare setting, and Kit very quickly realizes the house isn't the only thing that's completely unhinged here. Kit realizes she's trapped with a cast of total weirdos who are definitely all hiding something. You've got Mrs. Baker, the terrifying manager who just hates Kit on sight. Then there's Carter, the groundskeeper who's a little too snoopy and lingers a bit too long. Jessie, this teenage maid roaming around the dark, creepy halls wearing vintage Madonna t-shirts. And Archie, an ancient butler who was actually working there the night of the murders. The vibes? Completely cursed. Okay, so the patient, supposedly Leonora, is completely paralyzed except for her left hand, right? She can't speak at all. But things escalate from just kind of creepy to pure nightmare fuel when she starts using an old typewriter to communicate with Kit. Using just one finger, tap, 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 she types out a terrifying confession. She says, "I want to tell you everything." And she starts claiming that she didn't actually kill her parents. But then it gets so much worse. Kit wakes up in the middle of the night, rushes into the patient's room, and finds her completely terrified. Why? Because someone else had sneaked into the room in the pitch black and typed a message on the typewriter over and over and over, "It's all your fault." Kit realizes right then and there is someone else in this house playing a very sick, very dangerous game. Naturally, the panic skyrockets when Kit starts digging into what actually happened to Mary, the girl who had this job right before her. Now, Kit was initially told Mary just got fed up, quit, and ran off in the middle of the night. Nope. Actually, scratch that. Kit finds out Mary was murdered. She was shoved off the stone terrace and buried in the sand. And that means whoever killed her is absolutely still roaming the halls of Hope's End. All right, pause. Brace yourselves. Because just when you think you have this whole murder mystery figured out, the story drops an absolute bomb that flips the entire universe upside down. Kit is trying to piece together who pushed Mary and who actually committed the 1929 murders, so she finally confronts the people running the house. And guys, the truth they reveal is going to make you scream. Wait, what? The sisters swapped identities in 1929? That means the super strict manager, Mrs. Baker, she is actually the infamous Leonora Hope? And the paralyzed woman in the bed isn't the killer at all. It's her surviving sister, Virginia. Since Virginia was trapped in her own body after her injuries from that night, Leonora just pretended to be the maid to avoid the police and the intense public hatred. They've been playing an insane high-stakes game of pretend for over 50 years. So obviously you're probably wondering, why on earth would they play this insane game of dress-up for decades? To understand that, we have to take a trip back to the actual night of the massacre in 1929. Why did all of this violence happen in the first place? Well, it turns out that creepy schoolyard rhyme was completely wrong. So what actually went down? It wasn't some cold-blooded slasher movie slaughter by Leonora. It was just pure, tragic chaos. A massive chain reaction. At 9 p.m., the family finds out the younger sister, Virginia, is secretly pregnant by a summer worker. By 10 p.m., a massive fight breaks out. The dad pulls a knife, the worker stabs the mom. In all the panic, Virginia grabs a knife to defend herself and accidentally stabs her own dad. Traumatized by the absolute horror of what just happened, Virginia tries to end her life by hanging herself from the chandelier, but she survives, completely paralyzed. So the real villain, the guy who sparked all this bloodshed, wasn't even a member of the Hope family. It was a random summer worker named Ricky. He was the one who got Virginia pregnant, he stabbed the mother, Evangeline, and then he just cowardly ran off into the night. He disappeared forever, leaving 2 teenage sisters to take the fall for his bloody mess. But wait, because the most insane, literal scream-at-your-screen plot twist is how Ricky, this random summer worker from 1929, connects to our girl Kit in the present day. Think about it. Remember how Kit's mom died and everyone suspected Kit did it? And remember how the last nurse, Mary, was murdered? No way. Kit's own father is Ricky. Her dad was the summer worker who caused the 1929 massacre. He changed his name, lived a normal life, and eventually had Kit. When Mary the nurse secretly figured out his true identity, Kit's dad murdered Mary to keep his past hidden. And he is the one who actually killed Kit's mom with an overdose, letting his own daughter take the blame for it. Her entire life was ruined by the exact same man who destroyed the Hope family. Talk about the ultimate betrayal. The climax of this story is an absolute emotional gut punch. Just as Kit learns her entire life is a lie built by her killer dad, the ground literally gives way. Hope's end finally crumbles, plunging into the ocean in this massive cinematic action sequence. Kit and the sisters barely survive the collapse, and as the dust finally settles, we get one final, beautiful reveal. Remember Jessie, the quirky maid with the Madonna t-shirts? She is actually Virginia's secret grandchild, the direct descendant of that baby born on the night of the tragedy. After surviving the literal collapse of Hope's end and uncovering this ultimate betrayal by her own father, Kit has a massive choice to make about how to move forward with her life. Which brings me to a question for you guys. If you discovered your family was hiding a dark, murderous past, would you expose the truth and risk ruining everything? Or would you keep the secret forever, just like Leonora and Virginia did? Let that sink in. Thanks for joining me for this wild explainer, and I'll catch you next time.